Before we begin, tests were conducted for both sides, but for educational purposes, we emphasized on the right extremities. Nonetheless, the opposing side will be shown briefly for both tests.
For an SLR, the patient will lie supine on the ground with arms at the side. While keeping knees extended and ankles related to toes facing up, the test leg will be raised as far as possible.
For active SLR, the patient keeps the non-test leg on the ground and raises his test leg up as far as possible. The test leg is approximately 65 degrees in line with the midpoint of the thigh. This makes it a level 2 active SLR. For the left leg, it was 55 degrees in line with the midpoint of the thigh, making it a level 2 active SLR as well. For passive SLR, it was with assistance, which allows the patient to extend his range of motion much better. As we can see, he reaches 85 degrees in line with the ACES, making it a level 3 passive SLR. For the left leg, it was 80 degrees in line with the ACES, making it also a level 3 passive SLR. Overall, he passed the passive test, and therefore passive mobility will not be a limiting factor.
To test ankle dorsiflexion without any shoes, the patient will keep the front heel in contact with the floor and position the feet hip width apart and toes facing forward.
For active dorsiflexion, the patient shifts his body weight to the front of the leg and attempts to position the knee as far past the toes as possible. We can see that his knee is approximately 5 centimeters from his toe, making this a level 1 active ankle dorsiflexion. For the left ankle, the knee is 3 centimeters anterior to the toe. This makes it a level 1 active dorsiflexion. For passive dorsiflexion, the wall was used for assistance, which allowed for better control and range of motion. His distance from toe to wall is 8 centimeters. This made his passive ankle dorsiflexion level 3. After measuring the left side, the knee is 5 centimeters anterior to the toe, which makes it level 1 passive ankle dorsiflexion. Overall, passive mobility will not be a limiting factor for the right ankle, but will be for the left ankle.
The client will make a fist with the fingers wrapped around the thumb and raise the arm overhead. While he keeps his shoulders down, the test elbow will be flexed and the fist will be placed down the back as far as possible.
For active shoulder flexion, the patient maintains a neutral low back without any assistance. He then lowers the fist as far as possible, which led to a level 2 shoulder flexion, where his fist is 5 centimeters above C7. For the left shoulder, it was a level 1 shoulder flexion with 3 centimeters above C7. Passive shoulder flexion is now with assistance, where the patient will push the fist down as far as possible with their opposite hand. As you can see in the video, he reaches level 3 with his fist 3 centimeters below C7. For the opposite shoulder, it is still a level 3 with 5 centimeters below C7. For the Y test, the injury risk of each leg was found by calculating a composite for each. This is found by calculating the sum of greatest reach values for each direction, divided by the leg length times 3, and then multiplied by 100. Before we began, we measured the patient's leg length from ACES to medial malleosus, which was found to be 95 centimeters. The values from this test will be displayed on a chart shown on the screen. The greater the composite percentage, the lower the risk of injury. The test was completed 3 times for each leg to find these results. The composite for the right was 98%, and the composite for the left was 91%. Both these percentages are very high, indicating a lower risk of injury.
Question 1. Was there a difference in the client's passive and active mobility?
Yes, there was a big difference in the client's passive and active mobility. In fact, the client's passive mobility was far greater than his active mobility. For instance, ankle dorsiflexion, the passive motion had a greater knee-to-toe distance by 3 centimeters. On the left side, the knee-to-toe distance was 2 centimeters. For hip flexion, the right hip had an approximate 20 degrees difference between passive and active motion, while on the left side, the difference was 25 degrees. For shoulder flexion, the right fist in active motion reached 5 centimeters above the C7 vertebrae, and in passive motion, 3 centimeters below the C7 vertebrae, which is a total of 8 centimeters. For the left shoulder, in active motion, the left fist reached 3 centimeters above the C7 vertebrae, and during passive motion, it reached 5 centimeters below the C7 vertebrae, resulting in an 8 centimeter difference.
Okay.
For question 2, in your opinion, did the client's mobility passive or active, influence their Y balance test results?
Yes, the client's active mobility did affect their Y balance test results. Based on the results, the right hip and the ankle have more range of motion than the left side. Consequently, the right side Y balance test has a higher composition than the left side and a lower chance of injury. Thank you.